The Hard Rock Show is brought to you by Evolution Music, Rock Guitar Lessons, Hellfire Records, Merlion Industries, and Saren Cabinets and Shop Fitting. Welcome to the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
I'm Dennis.
I'm Jimmy.
That was weird.
We switched order up a bit, it looks like. Now, tonight, in case you can't tell, is all about Van Halen. We're bringing to you a 2-hour special presentation on Van Halen. Details at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media, YouTube, subscribe to that. We have Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter. Spotify you can follow us on as well. And
you sound so sure of yourself.
I'm really not.
What else are we on?
I've lost track of what we're at, so too much. And there's actually a website, believe it or not, about to be released if it's not already.
Nice.
Now, as I said, this is Van Halen tonight. So I guess, as is tradition with these 2-hour special episodes, we're going to go with opening statements. So who wants to go first? Okay, Jimmy. You've been banging on for this fucking episode for a while.
So have I.
I was raised on Kiss, AC/DC, and Van Halen, Andrew. I feel like Van Halen has been a part of my entire life since I was only a little tacker. I've always wanted to do this tribute, so it's great we're finally doing it. I consider David Lee Roth to be up with the greatest frontmen in rock history, and Eddie changed the way people play guitar forever. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a lot of fun. That's it.
All right. I got big into Van Halen in probably late 2006, and I've always said that they're the ultimate party band. David Lee Roth is one of my idols, and Eddie Van Halen is one of my favourite guitarists of all time. Van Halen changed my life and changed me as a person. Probably my favourite band ever. Fuck Megadeth.
Wow. Okay. Hello.
I'm definitely a classic DLR era Van Halen fan, more so than a Van Hagar fan. As for Gary Sharon, let's not even go there.
We will be.
I've always, unfortunately, I've always seen the three Van Halen singers like this. David Lee Roth wanted to fuck the woman. Sammy Hagar wanted to marry the woman. Gary Sharon wanted to be the woman. I love that joke. Greatest American band ever. There was such a tight unit in those early days. Legendary status is well deserved.
Yeah.
It's been a lifelong dream of mine to drive down Sunset Strip in a convertible, blasting Panama in the sunshine. Yeah. Someone fund that for me, please. I could keep going on forever about how much I love Van Halen, but we do have an episode to film.
I first heard of Van Halen when I was a little kid, probably by seeing the movie Back to the Future, where he pops the cassette tape in. All I knew at the time was that he was an awesome guitar player. I didn't really start listening to him until I was in my early 20s. And there's still a lot of albums that I haven't heard, so this is quite an educational process for me. It's obvious it's going to be a squirt fest for Jimmy and Dennis. I'm not so sure about Andrew. For me, it's going to be interesting. So, moving on.
Well, yeah, I can follow that up.
Squarefest is my favourite porno website.
The way we're going tonight, this might well be one. Now, Van Halen for me were not a band that I paid overly a huge amount of attention to. I was always aware of them. You can't not be aware of the band. But Jump, that song, spoiled it for me.
Right.
It got done to death, man. And seeing the video clip every fucking weekend and hearing it, it was over the top. And so that put me off because that was what I associated. Van Halen, Jump, and that was it. And I never really enjoyed that song.
Right.
So that made it really hard. Like I said, I've always known how important they are to everyone, how big they are, but the actual effort to go through their catalogue just wasn't there because better things to do as far as I was concerned at the time. Closing statement might be a little bit different. Like I said, that song Jump put the blinders on for me, so I wasn't really... I don't know. Whatever. You know, if that makes sense. People are probably fucking throwing cans at the TV screen right now. So, fuck you too.
I will be.
You will be. Just for the record, I want to mention that I did listen to the remasters of the early albums because it's hard to get the other ones anymore. So, in my opinion, this is our time to have our version of the Van Halen versus Van Hagar argument. I'm sure that'll be interesting as it goes along. We're going to review all 12 studio albums. So going through, we have Van Halen, Van Halen II, Women and Children First, Fair Warning, Dive It Down, 1984, 5150, OU812, for Unlawful, Carnal Knowledge, Balance, Van Halen 3, yes, we're going to go there, and A Different Kind of Truth. For the record, it's 127 songs, 8.5 hours worth of music. There'll be reviews, clips, there might even be some guest appearances on the cast night if Jodie wants to get out of bed. We'll also have a gig guide in the bin later on. What does not make the TV cut will be online very shortly. And what we want, something different, is while you're watching this, be it on the TV broadcast or online later on, is in the comments, either on Facebook, YouTube, wherever. Let us know what your favourite song or album or experience of the band is. So give us your story of Van Halen and what it means to you. Let's get interactive on this one, folks.
And let us know the first time that you remember hearing Van Halen. Do you guys remember?
Yeah.
Jump.
Yeah.
TV screen when I was a kid.
The Mighty Morphin
Commercial.
Power Rangers movie. At the end of it had Dreams by Van Halen.
Oh, wow.
That closed the movie. Fucking, yeah.
There you go. Of course, we have to thank our sponsors, so Evolution Music, Rock Guitar Lessons, Hellfire Records, Merlin Industries, Seren Candice and Shop Fitting, and Alessa Ego. We also have THRS Radio.
Andrew.
Listen to that via TuneIn, and we also have our end of year
Extravaganza
Yes.
at Max Watts, December 9th. We have 10 bands. Check Facebook for the lineup. I can't remember it.
co-headliners are Electric Mirror.
Tickets are on
Terminators.
sale by Oztix right
Yes,
now.
and $25 plus booking fee on pre-sale, or it's $35 on the door. So get them early.
You know what to do.
This episode will be followed by another THRS marathon on Channel 31, so I hope you're well stocked on those drinks because we're going to be going until about 4:30 in the damn morning.
Woo!
Yeah.
Let's kick things off.
Big night.
Van Halen with Van Halen, 11 tracks for 35 minutes, the debut album from the US four-piece consisting of David Lee Roth, Eddie and Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Released February 1978 via Warner Brothers, produced by Ted Templeman. 5 singles were released, not bad for a debut. You Really Got Me, Runnin with the Devil, Jamie's Crying, On Fire, Ain't Talking About Love. This album went to number 19 in the US, eventually going diamond there, selling over 10 million copies. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's noisy.
Diamond Dave.
Anyway.
Someone's brakes are fucked.
Yeah, pretty much. We haven't got a burnout guy anymore, we've got squeaky brakes. This also went 4 times platinum in Canada and gold in Finland, France, Germany and the UK. Initially it was not met well by critics, and this is now regarded as one of the greatest debut albums of all time. Jimmy?
In my opinion, Andrew, this is the greatest debut album ever released by a band ever in the history of music. Mm-hmm. Certainly the best I've ever heard in my life. The guitar sound and tone and feel is the best guitar sound I've ever heard on any album ever in the history of my music collection.
Squirt Fest. We're going to get some mops.
What do you reckon I'm going to score this album? This is one of my very favourite albums of all time. I first got it on cassette.
You sound like you're reading a show and tell.
Thank you.
He's excited.
Eddie's
Leave him alone.
Eddie's sound, the brown sound, is incredible. It's so raw and angry sounding, but matched with the way he makes the guitar talk, it's perfection. And Eruption changed
Everything.
electric guitar forever.
Yep.
The whole
That's
band
true.
is young, raw, full of energy and fire. Roth's vocal delivery is magnificent. It's a perfect album, never beaten. It's one of the greatest rock and roll albums ever made, and if you don't own it, you are a loser, dead set. And there's something wrong with you. 10 out of 10,
Here we
every
go.
song. Magnificent.
1978. Wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
First of all, if you don't have this album or have never heard it, what are you doing with your life?
That's right.
This is the Guitar Bible. This album changed everything. This album led to the death of disco music. Eddie Van Halen's signature brown sound tone was and still is the best guitar tone around. What an album. Obviously one of my favourite albums of all time. Eddie, Alex, Michael and Diamond fucking Dave.
Yes.
All of them shine in their own way.
Shine.
And they obviously work really, really well together. Michael Anthony's backing vocals are incredible. David Lee Roth's antics are over the top awesome. And brothers Eddie and Alex are well ahead of their time. The production is outstanding, especially for the time.
Yeah.
This record is on steroids compared to anything else from that era.
That's true.
Van Halen were doing things unimaginable to other bands and musicians at the time. And that really speaks for itself. The blistering guitar solos that is Eruption left guitarists scratching their heads and stretching their fingers. Eddie's brown sound no doubt increased Marshall sales tenfold. David Lee Roth put other frontmen to shame and left the ladies frothing at the gash.
Yeah.
I actually wrote that down.
Anyway.
This album has everything. This album is everything. Everyone should own and love this album. It's science, people.
Yes.
10 out of 10. Absolute perfection. Standouts are I'm the One, Ice Cream Man, Feel Your Love Tonight, and Little Dreamer. I kept it short.
Fuck, how to follow up those two?
Jesus
Christ. Actually, the first Van Halen album I ever heard in full, so even after 21 years of listening to music, it just blew my mind, because you heard all the imitators before that, so it kind of dulled the effect of what it would have been originally, but it was still fucking amazing the first time I heard it. It's one of those rare albums that changes everything and brings a whole new style of rock to the world and shows a new way of how the guitar can be played. It's easy to forget when it was released in 1978, because it was just... everyone copied it in the 80s. Much like when people first heard Jimi Hendrix almost 10 years earlier, people, when they first heard Eruption, it must have been amazing. And it would have freaked out a lot of their peers at the same time too. It's a classic rock album in every sense of the word. It's party music. It's still a lot of substance to the lyrics as well. Ain't talking about love, hints on some darkness at times. Van Halen set the standards for what would follow. They created their own sound and style, and as far as debut goes, it would be one of the best ever. Obviously, 10 out of 10. My standouts are Running with the Devil, Eruption, You Really Got Me, Ain't Talking About Love, I'm the One, Jamie's Crying, and Atomic Punk.
Yeah, more than me.
Okay, so much for keeping it short tonight, folks. Now, it's worth noting that they were all around 23 or 24 when this came out. For a debut, that's actually quite mature, especially by today's standards. So you got to remember that, I think. I think that's important, plays a part in their whole career.
Eddie used to lie about his age and say he was younger when it came out. Just
Wikipedia's unfucked you, mate. 35-minute album with 2 covers. The Kinks' You Really Got Me and John Brim's Ice Cream Man. I'm not sure I feel about having 2 covers on your debut album, personally.
They made it their own.
Yeah, but...
especially Ice Cream Man.
Yeah, Ice Cream Man, definitely.
Oh, You Really Got Me is much better than the original. It's much, much better than the original.
It is.
Okay, so I'm really just a cue point for everyone else.
I'm going to get shot when Julia sees that.
Oh, here we go. You better let us know on the messenger when you do that.
Oh, yeah.
I really like the production. It's great layering and panning. It sounds great today, but that use of panning was fucking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Templeman was the guy for this band, especially early on. And I gotta love the backing vocals as well. Dave's flamboyance shines, and you can tell how much of a frontman he is through the record, and that's rarely done. So well done. And I love how tight the band is. The rhythm section of this band is something fucking else, and I think so many bands can still learn from that.
Eddie was a better rhythm guitarist than a lead player as well, because that was all recorded one take. He played both rhythm and lead in the fucking studio at the same time.
But the way the drums, like Alex and Michael, play off of each other, drive everything. It's so good. And Eddie is fantastic. He's the perfect foil for Dave. They're a 1-2 punch. You've got a front man out there, but you've got a guitarist who can match him, which is really important, especially back then, which is what led to the band being so big. Dave isn't a perfect vocalist, but he's still strong, but it's all about the attitude with him, not about the pristine performance. It's about attitude and delivery. And I love the track order. I appreciate them seeming to treat this album like a live set, the way they've laid the tracks out. Great flow, peaks, troughs, and dynamics, you know what to do. Great hooks in the writing, perfect for radio and for the live environment. There's little unexpected things in this too. There's blues, there's Motown, and all that sort of stuff, and that works well with the way they've got their stuff going, so it's really well done. Seeing them in their prime would have been awesome. There's great performances all around. Lyrics and general writing are strong and just the right length too for an album, which is good. Strong album, fantastic debut, well worth adding to your collection if you haven't already. Reckon being a touch older really helped them in the beginning of things. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Ooh. Runnin with the Devil, Ain't Talking About Love, Feel Your Love Tonight, but there are no dud tracks. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. Van Halen with Van Halen 2. 10 tracks for 31 minutes. The second studio album from the US 4-piece consisting of David Lee Roth, Ian Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Released March 1979 via Warner Brothers, produced by Ted Templeman again. 3 singles were released: Dance the Night Away, Somebody Get Me a Doctor, and Beautiful Girls. This album peaked at number 6 in the US, number 23 in the UK, going 5 times platinum in the US, 2 times platinum in Canada, and gold in France. Jimmy, calm your farm. This album was recorded less than a year after the release of their debut, and many of the songs from those earlier writing sessions were incorporated onto this album. This album was also more well-received critically than the debut was. Dennis.
Just 1 year later, and the boys were back to show the world that their debut album was not a fluke and that they were fucking serious business. With the greatest summer party album of all time, Van Halen 2. I actually prefer this album to the debut. The vibe is just incredible. It's an album to party to, and it's an album to chill out to. It's an album for any occasion, really.
Any occasion, even having a bath.
Bring the whole family. Firing on all cylinders once again. This band was something else.
Fucking Melbourne supporter.
Killer production yet again. Guitar tone, bass tone, drums, vocals, and backing vocals not to be fucked with. If the first album led to the death of disco, then this album fucking cemented the absolute fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Dance the Night Away showed the world that you could still dance to rock music. One of my favourite numbers from this great American band. Eddie proves that the album is more chilled out than its predecessor, which was the scorching acoustic solo in Spanish Fly, no doubt leaving many guitarists scratching their heads once more.
Again.
Yeah. I love how most of these songs were recorded live in the studio in one take, even with mistakes here and there. Just listen to Diamond Dave laughing during the a cappella section in Bottoms Up.
Yes.
It's brilliant.
So cool.
If you don't own this album or have never listened to this album before, then you have never partied in your sad, pathetic life. 10 out of 10. Perfection again. Standouts, Dance the Night Away, Somebody Get Me a Doctor, Bottoms Up, Light Up the Sky, Women in Love, and Beautiful Girls.
Follow that up, go on.
How do you follow up the perfect debut album? By putting out another perfect album.
Oh, fuck. This is going to be a long night.
Squirt.
That guitar sound is still there. I was wondering whether the guitar nerds could pick a difference in the sound.
I can.
Yeah, I thought so. Guitar nerd.
Oh man, yells at cloud.
The average dumb bastard on the street like me can't pick it. Sounds the same to me. But anyway, another 10 classic songs. I reckon this album is as good as the first. I got this on cassette as well. Roth still sounds fantastic, and all the little words and phrases he throws and the ad-lib into the songs, like he was saying on Bottoms Up, even with the laugh, give it a real live feel. And you said they recorded it live.
Yep.
Charisma in his voice and delivery is what makes him so good. He's not the best singer, but it didn't matter because the attitude was all that he needed. Production is spot on, energy and delivery spot on, hooks and melodies spot on. The album is spot on. It's 10 out of 10. If you don't own it, you're a knob. So go and get it.
After hearing Van Halen 1, I quickly went out and bought Van Halen 2, but I have a major gripe with this album, and it's the track listing. Starting an album with a cover is never a good idea, and
agree with
especially one of a song that barely shifts in the second gear. It's fucking boring. From then onwards, it picks up quickly.
You invited him.
Seriously, up your fucking mess.
How many rock albums don't start with a balls to the wall cover? Not balls to the wall cover, balls to the wall fucking rocker. This just plods along for the first.
It's a chilled summer album.
But then
relaxing
you
on the
could
beach.
easily
It's supposed to be for any occasion, Dennis.
It is.
It is.
You could easily flip it over and make side B, side A, and it would have been a lot better. But because of that, I probably haven't given it the attention it deserves because it really took the wind out of my discovering Van Halen sale back in my early 20s. Aside from that, it is a great song. Listening to it for this process was I found a lot more songs I did like, but overall I gave it 7.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Somebody Give Me a Doctor, Spanish Fly, and DOA. But just a cover for your first song on an album.
When I was listening to it and looking at the track listing, I'll agree with you on that statement. I don't like a band opening their album with a cover. I don't like a band opening or closing, generally speaking, with a cover. You don't want to start or finish on something that people aren't going to remember you for. Anyway,
Get out of here.
What are they doing?
fucking moves out, see you in, boy. This one feels a lot more light-hearted than the debut, a little more laid back. It's got a little more classic or retro sort of feel or vibe to it. Less than a year later, but the production is actually a step up. This one is warmer and sparkles more. I love that you can hear the manual fade-outs in the production. There are certain songs you can hear when the faders weren't quite done evenly. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's the production gig over here. This time opening up with a cover is an interesting choice. Like I said, they did make it their own though, so that's the cover of You're No Good. This one doesn't grab you as much initially as their debut did. However, it's a serious grower. Once you settle in on it, it's the true natural follow-up to the debut album. More sass, flash, and attitude, as well as a little more diversity on this release as well. They've really grown as performers, and you can hear the fun they have in the record, which is always good, and it's hard to get those things to be conveyed effectively through a record. The writing is really good. Maybe not as many hooks per se, but it's overall both heavier and lighter than the debut album, and it works well. Spanish Fly is a nice addition, and it's a good foil to Eruption on the previous release. And this one feels a little more even overall, a little more mature, and it flows well, makes it harder to pick standouts overall, in my opinion. And this and the debut are the 1-2 punch for this band. They hit it hard and they followed it up. Greatest back-to-back listens as well, and another worthy addition to your collection. Just like the debut, all the cogs are working perfectly together. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Dance the Night Away, Somebody Get Me Dr. DOA, Beautiful Girls, but there are no dud tracks again, and I love the energy of this one. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts.
Yeah.
Van Halen, Women and Children First. 9 tracks for 33 minutes. The third studio album, the US 4-piece, consisting again of David Lee Roth, Eddie and Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Released March 1980 by Warner Brothers, produced by Ted Templeman. Only one single was released this time around, and the Cradle Rock. The album peaked at number 6 in the US, going 3 times platinum there, as well as 2 times platinum in Canada. Gold in France. This was the first album from the band to not have any covers, which is good, and also contains the only female vocal ever recorded for a Van Halen track. Dave.
This sounds like they're putting a bit more thought into their songwriting, and the carefree party vibes of the first 2 albums have been sacrificed in the process, but that's okay because the result is heavier sounding band with grittier riffs and heaps of energy. It's impressive hearing some of the sounds Eddie Van Halen gets out of his guitar, not just the riffs and solos, but some of the slides and purrs, for lack of a better term. Possibly the heaviest and darkest Van Halen I've ever been. The start of Tora Tora, I thought I was listening to King Diamond.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're doing that heavy open E chugging. And this is...
Love control.
Yeah, this is 1980, predating Metallica and Megadeth. The acoustic intro, They Take You a Whiskey Home, and the song Could This Be Magic, they add some great diversity to the album. It breaks things up really nicely. It's actually my first time hearing any of the songs on this album.
Really?
This is great. This is exactly what I want from a Van Halen album. I gave this 10 out of 10. I could list every song, but I could say all of them stand out.
Have you seen Junior's Great?
Oh, fuck. Here we
3 stellar albums in 3 short years. What a band. Huge step up in production values. This band was heavy. This band was chilled. This band had a great sense of humour, especially with Eddie and Michael's backing vocals making fucking jokes in songs. Van Halen were a jam band. You can tell Eddie and Alex would just jam random shit together and it would turn into a song. I love that. Now, this album is nowhere near as perfect as the first 2, but it's sonically superior, if I don't fuck up my words. English is my second language. Calm down, ladies. Stop frothing at the gash. Hey! Now, I'm not a huge fan of songs like Lost Control, or the feel of that is Tora Tora, but it's still a great album. 9 out of 10. Standouts are And the Cradle Will Rock, Romeo Delight, fantastic song. Take Your Whiskey Home, fantastic song. And In a Simple Rhyme. Do it!
Just continues on the natural progression of this band, Dennis.
Fucking another 10.
The music on this album feels heavier to me than on the first 2, and as you guys have touched on, a song like Tora Tora, definitely. Lyrically, Roth is on fire on this album, but still injecting some humour and entertainment over the heavier feel of the music. That guitar sound again, there's just something about it. I cannot get enough of Eddie Van Halen's guitar sound, especially on these first 3, 4, 5 albums.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Anything except number 3.
Yes. They go from a song like And the Cradle Will Rock to Could This Be Magic? It's completely different, really, and it all just works. I reckon Roth has a heap to do with that in the way he delivers a song as well, because he's brilliant at that. Michael Anthony's harmonies really shine on this album. Production's brilliant again. I can't fault it. Maybe Loss of Control isn't the strongest song, but I still love it. 10 out of 10. Again.
Fucking hell. Well, this album is more diverse and experimental than the previous 2, and it kicks off right where Van Halen 2 left off. The opening track is a straight-up follow-on. Then things change. The sass and attitude is still there, possibly even more sass and attitude from David Lee Roth on this record. There are different elements coming in on this one. Some different rhythms, performances, methods. There's like some tribal drumming bits and pieces in there and stuff as well. Lots more sort of the Foley, the sound effect kind of stuff going on into it, like Tora Tora, you guys talk about that as well. So this overall is a little more rough around the edges and heavier in the production and the tone overall, the feel, the vibe. Did anyone else get a Black Sabbath kind of vibe out of this one?
A little bit.
Yeah. There's also a little bit
opened
of...
for Sabbath for a while.
Yeah.
They opened for Sabbath for a
Yeah,
while.
and there's also a little bit of the sort of hillbilly side of Aerosmith incorporated in this as well. The production and performances suit what they are going for more with this record. Less polished but produced well, and the panning and the evenness is well done in the production side of things. It's a little more raw, but it just works. Not as much of a fan of the writing on things like Lost Control. That doesn't do much for me, for example. The instrumental touches feel a little bit like filler on this one as well. There's a little bit too much of that going on. But when it clicks, it's really good. This one just has some misses on there as well for me. Not nearly as riveting or memorable as the total product of the first two albums. So the first two albums are what I'm going to say listen to. This one, maybe not. And the flow of the album, while the flow of Caesar is disjointed. There is some gold on here though. This is worth listening to. It's just a bit too much muck to go with it, for lack of a better term. I gave it 7.5 out of 10. And the Cradle rock, everybody wants some. That's all Roth, that song. And in a simple rhyme. You can see why only one single was released, though, in my opinion, from this record. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. Van Halen with Fair Warning, got it right this time. 9 tracks for 31 minutes, fourth studio album from the US, 4-piece, consisting of David Lee Roth, Eddie and Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Released April 1981 by Warner Brothers, produced by Ted Templeman. 2 singles were released. So This Is Love and Unchained. This album peaked number 5 in the US, going 2 times platinum there and platinum in Canada. This was the band's slowest selling record of the Roth era. Dennis.
One thing I want to see sometime during tonight is Jimmy walk up in front of the camera and do the David Lee Roth split jump. Just so I can watch him pull a hammy.
Wait, man, you want to see groins and
You'll
hammies
hear that
pulled
fucking
and
hamstring snap in the CBD. We're in Cranbourne.
4th album in and still on fire. Production is fantastic yet again. This band had so much groove and swing in them. Another great party album. Lots of good humour. Come on, Dave, give me a break.
Yeah.
One break coming up.
Did no one else find that tacky?
No, dude, it was amazing. Because
That's actually part of this.
It was
Thank you.
improvised in the studio in this position. It was like, come on, Dave, give me a break.
So 80s.
Fantastic.
Cringeworthy.
No.
It's an accident and they left it in. I love that. Some absolute fucking bangers on this album. Even a bass solo. Van Halen definitely weren't afraid to experiment and jam on record. Something that wouldn't necessarily work nowadays, and labels sure as fuck wouldn't let bands do that type of thing in this day and age. Like Women and Children First, Fair Warning may not be as good as the first 2 albums, but it is slightly better than the aforementioned Women and Children First. 9.5 out of 10. Stand out to Mean Street, Sinner's Swing. I love the way David Lee Roth says fuck in that song. Like, she looks so fucking good.
Spits it.
There's oomph to that word. Hear about it later, Unchained,
Word fuck.
and Dirty Movies. I do. Now, there's 2 people who say it really well, though, like David Lee Roth and Jack Black. When they say fuck, I just squirt fest. It's like, fuck.
I'm going next. Jimmy can redeem it afterwards.
Here we go.
We'll go good, bad.
Please do.
Dirty guitar riffs, flashy solos, as expected from a Van Halen album. Catchy choruses, but compared to Women and Children First, Fair Warning left me a little bit disappointed. It might be sacrilegious saying this, but by this point, I think Roth's bullshit talk during some of the songs is really starting to make me cringe. I know it was the 80s and it was cool at the time and people kind of talked like that, but lines like one break coming up and tell us how you do it, it was just sounds so fucking lame listening to it in 2000s and everything.
You'll get some leg tonight for sure.
Who the hell gets leg?
Dated as fuck.
I've heard of getting head, but what the hell's getting
Leg's
leg?
a 70s thing. They were fucking from the 70s, man.
It's a shame because that song's cool. I just wish he'd shut the fuck up. Overall, I gave it 7 out of 10. Mean Streets, Sinner's Swing, Unchained, if he shut up, and Push Comes to Shove.
Wow.
Go on, Jimmy.
I love this
You know what you're going to do now.
I love this album not only because the songs are great, but it has what is possibly my favourite Van Halen song in Unchained.
No, fuck.
I reckon the overall sound of the band changed slightly on this album, especially on the song Push Comes to Shove. Yep. Again, it's a heavier feeling album. This is also the album where the keys and synth starts to get involved in Van Halen's music.
Yeah.
Sunday Afternoon in the Park is perhaps a prelude to the 1984 intro.
Prelude?
Prelude.
Anyone?
Interesting. This one feels like the darkest Van Halen album to me. Roth is still doing his thing with impromptu words and vocal sounds, but it feels darker delivery-wise. Alex Van Halen is a very underrated drummer.
Yeah, true.
There's some very good playing by him on this album. Really enjoy it. The only real complaint is that it feels too short to me. I could go on forever.
He wants more.
Yeah, I want more. 9 out of 10.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Well, at least you didn't give it a 10.
No.
Jesus, that's one down. All right, now you got to pay credit to their output of work early on in their career. They were fucking going bang, 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 bang. That does progressively get slower as the career moves forward. This one is much stronger than the last album. The groove is back on this record for me, and the growth and diversity is still there, but there's more cohesion this time around. Thank you for that. Production is really good. I appreciate how the bass is back on this one more than it was in the last one. It was pushed back a little on Women and Children First. It's back out front now. Whereas it shows the rhythm section driving things again, which is really cool. There's a fair bit of grit too, which works well. Sonically, musically, and lyrically, this is a seedier album, is the term I chose for it. I really like that switch for him. It's more of a gritty street vibe than a party vibe.
It's the hangover.
Yeah, good point, actually. It's like you walking out of the fucking bar in LA at 8 o'clock in the morning. The hooks, better use of backing vocals and the flow of back, great energy as well. Less polish, particularly on the guitar, but in the context of what I was saying before, that all works really well. And Dave is still showing off out front. It works. Eddie Van Halen works together though as the counterpoint to it. Diverse use of groove is well done, infectious in some of the tracks as well, and Dave works well with that. I think when he gets a groove that he knows is going to just get people's attention and carry them, that encourages him. And it's not like he needs a lot of encouragement anyway, but it just makes it go further for him. Sunday Afternoon in the Park, that's a big sign of what's to come.
Yeah.
Huge. And while it's a darker album overall, which I think we've all agreed on that point, there's still a heap of fun in here. Great use of tempo and groove overall, and it's a real solid album. Great flow, craft, and the diversity. I recommend this one over Women and Children First. Good mix of old and new though, so you've got a bit of what has already been there and a bit more of what's to come in later albums in this album. Sort of like almost a turning point kind of a period for them. 8.5 out of 10. Main Street Sinners Swing. Unchained. So this Love. You can see why they chose singles that they did for this record as well. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. Van Halen, Diver Down. 12 tracks for 30 minutes. The fifth studio album from the US four-piece consisting of David Lee Roth, Eddie Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Released April 1982 via Warner Brothers. Produced by Ted Templeton. 3 singles were released while Jimmy has a fit. Pretty Woman, Dancing in the Street, and Where Have All the Good Times Gone? Not here. The album peaked at number 3 in the US, going 4 times platinum there and platinum in Canada, while spending 65 weeks in the charts in the US.
Yeah.
This album was made up of 5 covers, 3 instrumentals, and 4 new complete band tracks, 2 of which have their roots way back in the 1977 sessions. This all came about after Warner Brothers were piling on the pressure for a new album with the accidental success of the Pretty Woman single. Dave.
A 31-minute album with 5 covers that are obvious filler, 3 instrumental tracks that range from 40 to 100 seconds, and leaving 4 actual new songs.
Here we go.
Was there a reason they released such a rushed and pieced together album? I think Andrew covered that. The 4 songs could have been used as B-sides, or at least held off until the next full album. I'm sorry, the original songs are nothing remarkable, and the covers are fucking terrible and an insult to the originals. I debated about whether to do this or not, but there have been better albums with all original material that have been put in the bin. So...
No!
Yeah.
No! No, I'm not hitting it! No! You cannot put Van Halen in the bin!
That's going in the bin!
This is outrageous.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing Jimmy have a final meltdown.
Hold on. It should at least get a 1 because Hang 'Em High is a great song.
I can't touch that. It missed the bin and I'm not putting it in there.
I'm not touching it either. It's disgraceful.
Oh, I can't believe
It's in the bin.
I cannot believe it. Of all the things that happened on this show.
Hang on, that's saying something.
Come on. Rock and Roll Over went in the bin.
Yeah, that's right, he did too.
Yeah, well.
Go. Like I said, better albums have been in the bin.
All right.
No, they have.
That's definitely going to TV.
All right, 5 cover songs off the 12 on this one. I love the song Intruder and how it morphs into Pretty Woman. Do you like that?
It was well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And their version of Pretty Woman is great,
No, it is.
as is Dancing in the Street.
No.
Took them 12 days to record this album.
Fuck.
12 days, they smashed it out.
Yep.
Definite change to the guitar sound on this album. Little Guitars is a fantastic
Fuck
song.
yeah.
I love that. I actually think Roth sings really well on this album. I love Big Bad Bill.
Same.
Such a departure.
Eddie and Alex's dad played the clarinet on it.
Just going to say, it's great to hear Jan Van Halen playing on it
Jan.
as well. Or Jan, yeah. Awesome, Jan. Jan. The song is well done. The Full Bug is a killer song. I gave this a 9 out of 10,
What
Dave.
the fuck?
Really?
Only because there's 7 originals on it and only 3...
Right.
3 are instrumental.
Yeah, and
They're
they're
brilliant.
barely even an actual song.
It's
You know, Eddie Van Halen doesn't like this album either. He
Well,
said
Eddie's silly.
Eddie's drunk.
He said he
Doesn't
would
matter.
rather have a hit, he'd rather have a flop with one of his own songs than a hit with somebody
Exactly.
else's.
That's on the record.
That's
Yeah.
alright.
This has always been my least favourite classic DLR Van Halen album. Always been my least favourite one. Not to say it isn't good, but there are a few things that bother me, but not so much now.
Yeah.
4 original songs, 3 instrumentals, 5 covers. We've covered it off. I'll fucking hand it to them though. That's a fucking ballsy move. Although they were rushed by the album.
was the label.
I didn't know that before writing this. So no band could get away with that shit nowadays. Some of the covers are better than the original track.
That's all they released these days.
True.
Some of the covers on this album are better than some of the original tracks on this album. And some of the instrumentals are great, but perhaps not necessary. Like I said, this used to bother me a lot, but I've grown to love it over time. I actually love their piss fart cover of Big Bad Bill
Yeah.
William Now and Happy Trails.
Yes.
Just goes to show the carefree attitude and sense of humour that they all had. That's the essence of Van Halen, and I love it. 9 out of 10 as well.
Fuck.
Standouts are Where Have All the Good Times Gone, Hang 'Em High, best song on there. Oh Pretty Woman, Cathedral, Big Bad Bill is Sweetly, blah, blah, blah. The Full Bug, and Happy Trails.
Nearly the whole goddamn thing.
Till we meet again.
God.
Happy Trails.
Okay. This is an odd album, but knowing the context helps, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you don't sign to labels. This one, for obvious reasons, feels at least like a Van Halen record.
12 fucking days, oh Jesus.
It's really hard to give this one a decent review. It's entertaining, but a lot of filler. It's an album equivalent to our random recap episodes, which you just had one a few weeks ago. The production is really good. Everything is captured well. This band had that absolutely nailed. Ted Templeman fucking is the guy. Credit to them and to Ted. It was done in something like 12 days, which Jimmy was talking about, and was fun for the band, and that's translated in the way it comes across when you're listening to it. It brings you in on the joke, so to speak, while you're listening to it. So the originals, the instrumentals individually are well done. The covers are good. They save... what? Oh, they gave them. They gave. See, I can't even read my own writing after last week. They gave them a good dose of Van Halen. So the covers, they did make them their own. At least they did that. Considering the circumstances that the album was produced under, it does flow well. So a good job with that. And performances are good. All in all, it is a good listen. However, I'm not sure this is worth the coin as a consumer. I don't think it's worth buying.
Wow. I bought it about a month ago.
You're an idiot. You can still take it back.
Get a refund. Spend it on something better. Clearly, this clearly isn't a band that is prolific in their writing either of their full original songs. Otherwise, they would have had more to work with while they were touring and they were going to a studio and had more new songs as opposed to doing 5 fucking covers. Wonder how much of the holdover stuff they used in the originals of this and how much more of that is going to come into their career at this point in writing this. We know how much it comes out later on, but yeah. Interesting and entertaining, but hard to call a Van Halen record. Some of the cover choices are a bit too out there for me as well. Happy Trails being one of them. That fucking irked me. It was terrible. It is a good listen, but it is not required listening. I gave it a 7 out of 10. The Full Bug and Pretty Woman were my only standouts. The rest of it's pretty ordinary. Wow. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. Van Halen, 1984. I am toying with the idea about whether or not to include this in the TV cut. I guess you'll have to wait and see. 9 tracks for 33 minutes. The 6th studio album from the US 4-piece, consisting again of David Lee Roth, Eddie and Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Oh my God, Jimmy, this is not striptease. Released January 1984 by Warner Brothers. Surprise, surprise. Produced by Ted Templeman. 4 singles were released: Jump, I'll Wait, Panama, and Hot for Teacher. The album peaked at number 2 in the US, only beaten by Michael Jackson's Thriller, and stayed there for 5 weeks. It also peaked at number 15 in the UK and number 11 here in Australia. Went diamond in the US, selling over 10 million copies, making this and their debut album the band's top sellers. It also went 5 times platinum in Canada, platinum in Germany, as well as gold in both the UK and France. Things started to go pear-shaped behind the scenes after this, though, as Roth would leave the band in 1985, and there are a host of issues in the future pertaining to royalties and songwriting credits. As such, this was Roth's last album with the band until 2012. Jimmy.
The album that introduced me to Van Halen, Andrew, I was 11 years old when this came out. My brother brought it home and whacked it on, and that was it. Jump was the song. I remember the video so well. Like you were saying, every 5 minutes it was on TV. Mm-hmm. What a huge difference this album is to the early albums. It's pure Van Halen, but that synth and how huge it is in the mix pushed their sound even further, I reckon.
Yep.
In the songs it's used on. Yeah. Guitar sound changed again. Still incredibly unique and huge. There's simply not a below-par song on this album. It is brilliant. Roth sings fantastic. Eddie plays as good as he ever has. Alex and Mike are as tight as a fish's ass. The backing vocals are huge and the attitude is back. Hot for Teacher. Alex slays it on that song. Fantastic playing.
Yep.
What a song that is as well. And House of Pain. It's an incredibly good album. 10 out of 10. It's magnificent.
We all know this one. Or should know this one. It's really a shame. Actually, I'm surprised Jimmy didn't call this one MCMLXXXI. Knowing his track record.
There it is. There it is.
Yep.
It's really a shame this is the last classic DLR Van Halen album, because truthfully it's a perfect album. Imagine what would have followed this if they didn't break up. Best production on any Van Halen album, hands down. Perfection. Jump might be overplayed as hell, but fuck me if it isn't a great song. Iconic and game-changing. It just makes you feel good. In fact, the whole album does. That's the great thing about David Lee Roth fronted Van Halen. Every song just puts you in a good mood no matter what.
Yeah.
I'd say this album probably has Eddie's best guitar tone next to the first 2 albums. It's a fantastic album. Every song is incredible and diverse. Another perfect party album from the mighty Van Halen. I've heard people complain about this album being too synth heavy. Well, I have something to say to those people. Get fucked.
Yes.
I'll Wait is 95% synth and 5% guitar, but it's still an outstanding song. Lyrics are great too. David Lee Roth is a fucking underrated lyricist, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I know for a fact that pro shot footage from the 1984 tour exists. Why they haven't released a DVD yet is beyond me. If it's to do with Diamond Dave's drunken antics, well, listen here, Van Halen.
Watch this show and you'll see him get away with it.
That's why Dave was great. Midgets in tuxedos being bottle-fed straight Jack Daniels at your concerts is why you're the best band ever.
Yeah.
Please release full pro shot concert footage on DVD. 10 out of 10. Standouts, all of them, obviously, but especially Panama, Hot for Teacher, Drop Dead Legs, I'll Wait, Girl Gone Bad, and House of Pain.
Here we go.
Fuck yeah.
I'd love to see the look on Jimmy's face if I'd been this album.
Surely you won't.
I can't. This makes up for Dive It Down and then some. Bringing in synthesizers really fleshes out the Van Halen sound and results in one of the band's biggest songs, Jump, which as a single does its job. It brings a whole new audience in and it gives them the rest of the album, and it increases their fan base, which is always good. Great diverse collection of songs showing everything the band was about. If you want Van Halen, I'd recommend this album and the debut. It's hard to believe this would be the last one of David Lee Roth. You have to wonder what could have happened, because listening to this album, you hear a band that's on top of the world, and it all fucked up. 10 out of 10. Jump, Panama, Hot for Teacher, I'll Wait, and Girl Gone Bad.
Well, here comes the synth invasion. Jump spoiled this band for me. I'll cover that in the opening statement. That said, while the open and the huge hit are very synth heavy, the album itself isn't as heavy on the synth as you'd think.
Yeah.
Also, I can appreciate Jump more these days. I've had some separation from when I was being bombarded with it. listening to it in the context, especially in doing this process, when you've gone pure guitar, and a couple of little bits last time, and then now it's here, it makes sense, and you get it. Overall, this is a fine return to form, apart from the previous album. Production and vibe are fantastic. This whole album flows really well, and it's a perfect blend of everything they've done with some new flavours. The groove, the feel, and consistency are back big time for this record, and some of the best lyrical work on this too. I don't think this band can claim to be the best lyricist with any frontman. I think there are dodgy songs all around with any frontman with the lyrics, worse with Gary Sharon. But I think all the incarnations, like people like to knock Sammy Hagar for his lyrics, but Dave Lee Roth had some duds in there too.
I don't feel dirty. Class dismissed.
Anyway,
Yeah, but it's the way Roth
pencil.
but if you just take the lyrics as lyrics, then Roth had some shockers as well.
Yeah.
It was the delivery that made up for it, and I'll pay that. But I'm just talking purely on lyrics.
reading the words.
Yeah. There's some interesting ones there. But that said, on this album, it's some of their best lyrics to date. Backing vocals aren't quite where I'd hope they'd be in the mix, because Michael Anthony is a fucking demon in that regard. Underrated as fuck, I reckon. He's a big part of this sound. But they really do bring something special to the band, the backing vocals. It sets them apart. The track I'll Wait is a complete product of the 80s. Great hook though, and this album has those aplenty. I can see why the sales on this is on par with their debut, two albums that have gone diamond status. It's a great album delivered at the perfect time. I reckon the timing of this album was as much of a part of its success as the music itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Plenty of balls about it too. I wonder how different things would have been had they kept it all together, but they clearly didn't. Believe it or not, 10 out of 10.
Whoa!
I picked Panama, Hot for Teacher, I'll Wait, but there are no dud tracks. This is a must-have album. You have to have this one. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts.
Fuck, we all did 10.
Did you do 10 too?
Yeah, we all did 10.
I think it's
the perfect.
Fuck.
I think that's the first time.
Wow.
That might even be the
Class
first time.
dismissed.
And what's it? Van Halen, 51-59 tracks for 43 minutes, the seventh studio album from the US four-piece, consisting of Sammy Hagar, Eddie and Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Released March 1986 by Warner Brothers, produced by Mick Jones, Don Landy, and Eddie Van Halen. 5 singles were released: Why Can't This Be Love, Dreams, Love Walks In, Best of Both Worlds, and Summer Nights. Giving the band their first ever #1 album, going 6 times platinum in the US, 3 times platinum in Canada, gold in Germany, and silver in the UK. Obviously, this is the band's first album with Sammy Hagar, and the reception to it was mixed critically. Dennis.
Swifty one Swifty. I'm a big fan of this album, even though I'm not a big fan of Sammy. I think the writing and compositions, as great as they are, were played too safe and lack the dangerousness and unexpectedness of what they were doing with Dave. It's more synth-heavy than 1984, and while it's not too bad, it does drown out the guitar at times, which is very disappointing considering guitar is the main reason that this band was what it was. There are huge production values on this, but sadly the synth is just a tad overpowering, especially for songs like Why Can't This Be Love and Love Walks In. On the other hand, songs like Dreams is a perfect 50-50 or 51-50 mix of guitar and synth.
Oh, you ate one too, is falling there.
Shit album anyway. And what a song it is. Sammy might technically be a better singer than Dave, but his lyrics are garbage for the most part. Overall, a great album, but it was more like a shy, safe version of Van Halen. Basically a different band altogether, hence why so many called it Van Hagar.
Yeah. Even the label wanted to change it.
Yeah. Still, 9 out of 10. Standouts are good enough. Dreams, Summer Nights, Best of Both Worlds, and 51-50.
As far as replacement singers go, Sammy Hagar just fits into the Van Halen sound perfectly, and the band don't lose a step from 1984. Personally, I think Sammy Hagar is a much better singer than David Lee Roth. Obviously, Roth is a much better performer, but Hagar just has a bit more life and passion to his vocals, just my opinion. What changed the most about these songs is the themes. There's more ballads and more focus on telling stories based on past experiences rather than it being a constant, never-ending party. It's easily the best album they did with Sammy Hagar. I gave it 8 out of 10. Good enough. Why Can't This Be Love? Dreams, Best of Both Worlds, Love Walks In, and 51-50.
Yes, the new era of Van Halen, second incarnation of the band, I reckon. I view this album... That's true. I view this album...
Just a hypothesis you're running with, or what?
Well, I view this album as the start of a new band.
Yeah, and I think people actually should do that. But
Yes.
anyway.
The sound changed drastically, I thought. A singer with a monster voice, a different drum sound, definitely. Different guitar sound and more keys and synth. So it's a new band. Sammy Hagar is one of the greatest rock voices ever, I think.
And he's still got it today, too.
Fantastic singer. He really is. If you take away the prejudice in me that prefers Roth, era Van Halen, this really is a fantastic album.
Yeah.
There's no bad songs on this. They went even more radio friendly. Lots of references to love, etc. This is radio rock, and Van Halen weren't the only band doing it at the time. Where I'm up to. Sammy sings his guts out. His best performance in Van Halen by miles.
Yep.
I prefer Alex's old drum sound, which is more natural and not
He ended up getting
triggered.
that triggered kid,
Yeah, I hated that, but anyway, that's the way he went. Eddie's playing brilliant, of course. I do love this album. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Another 10.
Nice. Didn't expect that, to be honest. I didn't expect this to go so well. First up, what a new energy Sammy Hagar brings to the band. No matter what you think about the two frontmen, his energy in the performance is fucking bang on.
Oh, yeah.
And he had to come in and do something special.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
had
sure.
to, and
Yeah, no
he
choice.
stepped up. He stepped up. Sammy gives Eddie Van Halen a new weapon to play with. He harmonises against the vocals. There are parts like at the end of I think it's Why Can't This Be Love? You've got the vocal doing one thing and the guitar harmonising against a high-pitched vocal.
Yeah.
He could never do that with Roth.
No way.
So it gave Eddie Van Halen a new weapon to play with.
Yeah.
New personnel have really refreshed things behind the scenes as well. It's not that they were going stale at all, but this is just really fresh. You can tell that the production's different, new frontman, all that sort of stuff. It's all very different, but it all sounds good, invigorated. Sammy's attitude is not as sassy or cheeky as Roth's, and that'll never be the case, but it really works, and what he brings to the ballads is amazing as a vocalist.
Yep.
That in turn plays into Eddie Van Halen's desire for the synth and gives new depth to the writing and album craft. All that is well done. It does become a more complete product individually. There's some great groove on here, touches of funk as well. I reckon this lineup touring with Living Colour would have been a great 1-2 sort of lineup. There's some... What have I got here? While the production is different, there's still plenty of good complements each other, the band. Even more even overall, the production. There's less overall sparkle, but it works well to bring the whole sound together, and it shows off Sammy's ability as a singer. I think they've found that they've got someone that can do more in that regard, and they're actually bringing all the focus points in around that. Makes it sound different. That's why you got, like you guys say, take it to a different band. It's not the same band anymore.
Nah.
The obvious trait is showmanship for pure talent, but it does go deep in that. It impacts everything, even the backing vocals and the harmonies apply to those and the energy overall. So it's a lot deeper than just the attitude versus performance. There's also really natural progression in the writing, I think. For me, the music was moving this way anyway. They just got a better suited singer for the style. A great album. It all works. It's a bit different, but it's all smooth sailing as far as I'm concerned at this point in time. And I love the little nods to the change in lyrical content and stuff in the songs. There's a little bit here and there in the album, especially on the last track, where they're talking about being the new guy in the band. Yeah. They played on it. They knew it was going to be talked about, so they went there. And that's good. Firmly in the 80s now. Hooks for days on this. 9.5 out of 10. Why Can't This Be Love? Dreams, Best of Both Worlds, Love Walks In, and 5150 my choices. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. Van Halen with OU812. Caesar has ceased being quiet for the evening. 10 tracks for 50 minutes, 8th studio album from the US, 4-piece, consisting of Sammy Hagar, Eddie and Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Released May 1988 by Warner Brothers, produced by Don, Landy, and Van Halen. 3 singles were released: Black and Blue, When It's Love, and Finish What You Started. This album also went to number 1 in the US, going 4 times platinum there, as well as silver in the UK. Jimmy.
This is where it starts to get a bit off-putting for me, Andrew, with Van Hagar. It's not that it's a bad album. There are some brilliant songs on this one. Naturally Wired, Carbo Warbo, Finish What You Started, and When It's Love were my picks. I put them in nice and early this time. Lyrically, there is some really cringe-worthy stuff on here, though. Source of Infection, the vocals are fantastic. The lyrics are lazy, stupid, and nothing makes sense. Musically, it's great, but those lyrics, please. I guess they were going for a real radio-friendly rock and roll album with dumbed-down lyrics to appeal to the masses. Roth dumbed down the lyrics too, as we've talked about, but he delivered them with tongue-in-cheek, and Van Halen were all about the party. Now they're serious pro-musicians, and I don't feel it works as well as it did with Roth singing. Just my opinion. Musically, the whole album is great. Sammy sings great, and Eddie plays great, but lyrically, 8 out of 10.
Wow.
8 out of 10.
Only 2 years after 5150, and there's a noticeable change in the music. Sammy definitely did more hurt than help to this band, I think. Eddie, Alex, and Michael are great as always, but the music went downhill as a whole. They're great individually, but I think Sammy's input and influence made them not work as well together like they used to. I don't listen to this album ever. In fact, there's only one song that I enjoy, and that's Black and Blue. This album is uninspired and boring for the most part.
Wow.
3 out of 10. Standouts, Black and Blue.
Wow.
Jesus.
That's a bit of a change of pace for the band, isn't it? Very bluesy and laid back, almost Rolling Stones territory at times. There's still plenty of room for some flashy guitar work. With the simple cover photo and the change in style, it's like they're moving away from the extra flash of the Roth era, and I don't really know why. I do think it's the second album of Hago is way too early to be experimenting with their sound. Following up 1984 and 5150 with such a change of pace really kills the momentum they had. It's a bit hit and miss at times. Feels so good. Sounds like fucking church music at times. Overall, it's an interesting listen, but I gave it 6 out of 10. I stand out to where Mine or Mine, When It's Low, Source of Infection, and Finish What You Started.
My first note on this after all that is it's worth noting here that Sammy Hagar actually worked really hard on lyrics to this album.
Yes!
He has gone on the record and said there are certain songs on this that it was the first time he ever actually beat himself up over the lyrics and tried to make them as good
He
as he
should
could.
keep beating himself up.
We have to finish what you started.
Yeah. This album focuses more on the synth in both the writing and the production, and it's a good blend of upbeat, energetic tracks and slower ones overall. I love the groove on this band. It's here on this record. The production is more 80s than anything else so far. This is the most 80s sounding of their records, I think. Really time-stamped. However, it still holds up really well today. It still sounds fresh, believe it or not. I reckon they've done... apart from the one coming up, I think, predominantly speaking, the production's been pretty good for this band. Great use of space, layering as well. Doesn't have the old sparkle, but it's a great blend of clean and gritty stuff. I would like more clarity on the lyrics, however, so you can hear them properly. I think you can tell that Eddie Van Halen is experimenting more in the composition side of things on this record. This is the one where he goes, okay, I'm going to do something different. That said, this is still very Van Halen. Eddie really is the key piece to this band, in my opinion. He's also done really well at incorporating synth, but not overdoing it. One of the other things, too, I don't think I've mentioned in reviews at any point, even one's coming up, is that Sammy Hagar was an accomplished lead guitarist. Yeah. Which meant that the synth could come in more, which is what Eddie wanted all along, because he could have someone on stage playing the lead parts.
Sammy's a good guitar player.
And so that's where this synth and the experimentation comes in, because he doesn't have to hold down that side of things anymore, in my opinion, of how it all played out. It's not as riveting or energetic as the last album, but it's a good solid album with a wider depth of emotion conveyed in the songs. And the album is less fun, more something to say. That's the kind of vibe I got out of it. Plenty of good hooks though, riffs there, enough balls on here as well to appease most people. Sammy's vocals are still great. All performances serve the songs really well. I got to say that about the writing and the way they performed it. The cover of Apolitical Blues doesn't quite fit. It's good for something different. It's just a solid album overall. I gave it 7.5 out of 10. When It's Love, AFU or Naturally Wired, Cabo Wabo, and Finish What You Started. And that's it from me. Check it out for yourselves. Give us your thoughts. Van Halen for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, also known as Fuck. There you go. That was shit. 11 tracks for 52 minutes. 9th studio album from the US, 4-piece, consisting of Sammy Hagar, Eddie and Alex Van Halen, Michael Anthony. Released in June 1991 by Warner Brothers. Produced by Andy Johns, Ted Templeman, and Van Halen. 3 singles are released: Poundcake, Top of the World, and Right Now. This album debuted at number 1 in the US, going 3 times platinum there, as well as platinum in Canada and silver in the UK. The album title was meant to be a stab at censorship, and this album marks the return of Ted Templeman on the production side of things. This one also won a Grammy. Hey. Who wants to go first?
Yeah.
Alright.
Back on track after the change of pace of OU812. Fuck has some good songs, but there's some average ones too. In and Out being an average one with its repetitive chorus and a less than clever single entendre. Compared to OU812 with all its different styles and the diversity of 5150, this album does sound a bit one-dimensional. Cool use of the drill at the start of Poundcake, but apart from that, Eddie seems to have backed off on the flashy guitar work a little bit.
He's focusing more and more on synth. I think
Yeah.
He was even playing the gigs live on synths.
Yeah.
I think this one could grow on me over time, but I noticed the songs as I picked as a standout were all the ones I was familiar with the Best of Both Worlds compilation CD. Fuck isn't a bad album, but I'll stick with 5150 overall. 7 out of 10, Poundcake Round and Round and Right Now.
This album is better than OU812, but not by much, if I'm being honest. I actually forgot how terrible Sammy's lyrics were, with the exception of Right Now, which is amazing. Everything else reads like it was written by an 8-year-old, though. Production...
I'm glad I'm not the other guy.
The production's good, but the majority of the album feels uninspired yet again. Right Now is an amazing song with a great music video. Which we have to play with. The thing about Van Hagar is I'd have a lot of trouble putting together a top 10 list of songs that I actually like. And that's sad. Great individual musicianship as always, but just doesn't gel together. 5 out of 10. Standouts are Right Now, 316 and Top of the World.
I remember going to Brash's at Brandon Park Shopping Centre.
That's the shittest shopping centre ever, by the way.
You did,
I remember Brash's there though.
Yeah. To buy this CD the day it came out. I remember that very, very well. The title of this...
So here you go. You hate Sammy Hagar, yet you helped make this album number one.
Oh, fucking hell. Van Halen, yeah. The title of this album belies the songs contained within it. You see the title and think it's a middle finger to conservative society, but the songs are anything but. They are safe, uninspiring, boring, and again, those lyrics are the worst.
Preach, sister.
This band has well and truly lost the party, happy, fun vibe that they were built on. There are a few good songs, but overall it's just not a strong album to my ears. I don't like Eddie's sound. It's digitised, yes, not raw. And I'm not a big fan of Alex's drum sound either. This whole triggered thing.
Nonsense.
Poundcake Run Around Right Now are the only standouts for me. Sammy sings great, but his lyrics for the most part are shocking. 7 out of 10.
Hey, exactly the same standouts.
Yep.
All right. Straight away, this sounds and feels more like a Van Halen record than the previous one did. The production is back, and this is more riff or guitar based than the previous one as well. That has to be stated, I think. And I think Sammy is back in full swing vocally and attitude wise. He does deliver that side of his performance.
Vocals are awesome.
Yeah,
always.
And I enjoy the hooks and the groove on this album. It's got a good vibe. Overall, you listen to this one. I know it's not the same party as the early stuff, but it's got a different kind of party to it, which is it's good fun. It's not as experimental or as diverse as the last album, though some of it is clearly carried over. This is a little bit a bit of theatre has been added to this record as well, in my opinion. And it's a little bit sleazy, gritty. It does work well with that side of things. And what Michael Anthony brings to this band is shown really well at times on this too. He can really drive the songs from the bass side of things. You really notice that lack of synth when the piano kicks in. It's much more pure rock record overall, this album is. And it's a good album flow. The diversity is more in the tempo and the groove than anything else. Right Now kicks in at the right time as your focus starts to sort of wane a bit when you listen to the album. That song comes in at just the right time to make sure you don't go to sleep or whatever else. Jimmy might. He always does.
Vessel.
All in all, it's a good album, but maybe a little bit too one-dimensional. It does go for too long to be that sort of one-dimensional kind of side of things. Could have broken things up better with more thought put into the track order, in my opinion. Just that second third of the album needed work. That middle part of it just doesn't... It's too much of the same thing for too long there. But it does close very strongly. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I picked Poundcake, Run Around. I actually did pick In and Out. I like that track. Right Now and Top of the World were my standouts. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. Van Halen with Balance. 12 tracks for 53 minutes while I just do here for a second.
Sorry about that. I keep forgetting. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
While I do Jimmy's job for him. It's the 12 tracks, 53 minutes, 10th studio album from the US, 4-piece, consisting of Sammy Hagar, Eddie and Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Released January 1995 by Warner Brothers, produced by Bruce Fairbairn. 5 singles were released. The Seventh Seal, Don't Tell Me, Can't Stop Lovin' You, Not Enough, and Amsterdam. The album went number 1 in the US within a month of its release, going 3 times platinum in the US and Canada, as well as gold in Brazil. As well as having the 7th Seal nominated for a Grammy. Eddie was newly sober while recording this, and it would be the final album with Hagar due to disputes with the band's new manager after the death of their longtime manager from cancer in 1993. In the opening week, this album sold 21% higher than Fuck.
Wow.
Just so you know. Go on, Dennis.
A small part of me thinks the reason these Van Hagar songs weren't as good as the David Lee Roth era songs is because they took too long between albums. This was released in 1995. The previous album was 1991. Perhaps they just spent too much time thinking and writing and should have just gone in live
Their
jam
manager
style.
died in 93 though, and that had a big impact on them. Yeah.
Well, they still should have gone in live jam style like they used to. Who fucking knows what was going on? 90s, man.
Eddie was going through rehab.
For the 30th time? Now, I may give Sammy Hagar a lot of shit for his lovesick lyrics, but I will say that Can't Stop Loving You is a fucking beautiful song and has been one of my favourite Van Halen songs since I first got into them. There's a few good songs on here, but nothing amazing. I'd go as far to say that this is better than OU812 and Fuck. Slightly. 6 out of 10. Standouts are Can't Stop Loving You, Big Fat Money, The Seventh Seal, and Baluchitherium. I think I said that right.
This is Sober Eddie Van Halen on guitar. The song,
who wants to hear that?
exactly. The song Seventh Seal was apparently written before Van Halen even became a band.
Yep.
Interesting. No, it's not Wolfgang on the cover. It's some kid from Denver. I always thought it was Wolfgang too. I think a lot of people did. But anyway, this album has never done anything for me. It contains the plodding radio-friendly soft rock from Fuck. Sammy sings great as always, but the lyrics are mostly rubbish. Some good melodies and harmonies on this album, but overall I get bored with it. I think they were trying to get spiritual with this album, but Wham Bam Amsterdam, fucking come on.
Terrible.
Seriously. Wham Bam Amsterdam.
No, I made a reference to that as well.
Even David Lee Roth wouldn't write that.
Well, there's another song about Amsterdam which is just as cringy. My parents used to play it to me and I fucking hate it. It's like, in the city of Amsterdam, you can have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's like just as bad as Wham Bam Amsterdam. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Big Fat Money, Don't Tell Me. They seem like decent songs. Doing Time, the drum song, that was pretty cool. The song Strung Out sounds like it was written when Eddie was smashing up his house looking for a drink. Some good bits, not many though. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Fuck.
I'll pay that.
Once again, how do I top those two? Fuck.
We're not.
This was released right in the peak of the grunge era, and unlike a lot of bands at the time, Van Halen didn't try and join the current
And
trend.
I've got to give them credit for that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's not to say their sound didn't change though. For lack of a better term, it's a mature Van Halen album. The first that was written with Eddie gotten sober. The party vibes are long gone, but there's still some fun songs on here. Big loud rock songs and a tender piano ballad. This album would have to be the most melodic guitar work Van Halen's ever done, though. Hagar sounds great, even if his lyrics are sometimes cringeworthy. It'd be their best album since 5150. Cool artwork too. I gave it 8 out of 10. I liked Seventh Steel, Can't Stop Loving You, Big Fat Money, and Not Enough.
Well, there are 2 instrumentals and 1 drum solo track on this record, which was different again, which I actually enjoyed. And Bruce Fairbairn has stepped in on the control side of things, and he's nailed it. He got their sound, and he took it into the mid-90s really well. Considering how many other artists we've seen struggle during this time,
true.
all of our other tribute or battle episodes, when they start hitting this era, every other band we've had has struggled to be who they are. These guys didn't. That deserves a huge amount of credit just for that alone. The use of space, the depth, the layering, it's great. It sounds fantastic and, well, quote-unquote, balanced. Bad pun. Here we go. Jokes as good as fucking Hagar's lyrics. In my opinion, this is the last album to really feel and sound like a Van Halen record, in my opinion. And there is some age just creeping into Sammy's voice a little bit, but he still sounds great. Some awesome lyrics though. I know there are plenty of average ones too. Wham bam, thank you. Yeah, wham bam. Like there's average ones here, but there are some moments when he did nail the lyrics on some songs. What Can't Stop Lovin' You is one for starters. One of the rare occasions sobriety actually works, in my opinion. It's got great writing and performances. You can hear where Respect the Wind from the Twister soundtrack came from out of these sessions, because this is where it came from. The reason why Hagar left the band was because he didn't want to record songs for a soundtrack when 3 of the members of the band were about to have a kid. It was like, we've got to take some time off, and then that all blew up. There are some poorer tracks like the Amsterdam one, which you're mentioning, which are okay, but there are some belters too, some great work and great hooks done here. There are some truly memorable tracks on this record. Great track order, fitting diversity, nice touches of experimentation as well, great peaks, troughs and dynamics. I like this one. With that said, though, this album doesn't drag or potentially lose you like the previous album did, getting better with the longer album format as they go along. I've got to give them credit for that. It balances the title, and that's what the album is. It lives up to that in all ways. It's a well-crafted outing. The instrumentals are cool, and Steve Lukather has a nice touch on Not Enough. A solid way for Sammy to bow out, in my opinion. Glad they got this out with everything going on behind the scenes. Do your research and read up on it. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. The 7th Seal, Can't Stop Loving You, Big Fat Money, Take Me Back, and Feelin' were my standouts. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. Van Halen, with, you guessed it, Van Halen 3. 12 tracks for 65 minutes. 11th studio album from the US, 4-piece now, consisting of Gary Cherone, Eddie and Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony. Released March 1998 via Warner Brothers, produced by Mike Post and Eddie Van Halen. 3 singles were released: Without You, One I Want, and Fire in the Hole. This album peaked number 4 in both the US and Canada, however only went gold in the US and was met with mixed to negative feedback. This is the only album to have Gary Cherone on vocals and was the last with Michael Anthony, who only played bass on 3 tracks this time around. This was also the band's last record on Warner Brothers and will be their last for almost a decade and a half. Jimmy.
Out goes Sammy Hagar and in comes Gary Cherone, Andrew. Gary has a great voice. I've always liked what he did in Extreme. And I thought on this album he sounds a little bit like Sammy Hagar in parts.
Yeah, he does. I agree with that.
Yes. But this just doesn't feel like a Van Halen album to me. Like you said, Mike only played bass on 3 tracks, so I think Eddie must have played bass on the rest. Without You is the only song I like on this. The production is ordinary, especially the vocals. I don't know what was going on with Cherone's. You can't hear the S's and the...
It sounds like he's got a lisp or something going on, And
he was apparently heavy into drugs around this time as well.
Okay.
Apparently.
Yeah, so I didn't like that at all. I thought the songs were plotters, all of them. Eddie plays well, of course, because he's Eddie Van Halen, but there's nothing interesting really about this album. It's too much of a departure for me. Simply put, there are no balls on this album at all, and some really ordinary songs. And How Many Say I, with Eddie on lead vocals, is by far the worst Van Halen track ever recorded. 1 out of 10.
Whoa.
Enter Gary Cherone. Why? Fuck knows. I'll bet Eddie and Alex couldn't even tell you why. Which is strange and disappointing because, like you said, Cherone is the fucking man in Extreme.
He's a great singer.
He sounds like shit on this album. Like he sounds like he has no idea what he's doing. That, and he was trying to sound like Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
What a shame. Most of the songs are trash. The only reason I like Fire in the Hole is because of Lethal Weapon 4. And even like might be too strong a word. It's an okay song. Eddie's lead vocals in the last track, How Many Say I, are strange. Too many
for once, Dennis.
Too many cigarettes, Ed.
Yeah.
This is also up there for worst album cover ever. What a fucking disgrace!
Stock photo.
I can't bin it because it's Van Halen, but it definitely.
Fuck off.
It definitely. It definitely doesn't.
Fuck off.
It does not deserve any more than a 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
My standout is Fire in the Hole. Barely.
Fucking hell.
Well, I usually stick up for albums that everyone hates, but not this time.
I like that.
It's not terrible, but it's not great either. It's a
pretty fucking
cliche.
ordinary
It
album,
could have been a solo album if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
That's what it should
It's
have been.
not that it's bad music, it's just a bad Van Halen record. Because it's not what you want when you're listening to Van Halen. Not many bands can pull off having a third singer. I think Nightwish is the only one that have done it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in the shadow of David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar.
Okay, did
And
you include AC/DC with
Axl? He's a temp, but yeah. Fuck, I didn't think of that. Hang on, he'd be the fourth.
No, we don't mention his
Yeah, no, we don't. He doesn't
We don't
count.
talk about
But
him.
the first one was an asshole.
Still is.
Yeah,
It was.
was. Who cares? He's forgotten. Gary Sharon does
Tell him that.
does an alright job in this album, but if I want him, I'll listen to Extreme.
Where do we go there?
Oh fuck. Van Halen don't even acknowledge this album in the Best of Both Worlds
they
compilation CD. So I gave it 4 just because it's not. Oh fuck. No standouts.
He's lost for words.
Yeah, just no.
Now, Michael Anthony went on record saying that this felt like an Eddie Van Halen's solo album, and that's what this should have been released as. This doesn't sound like Van Halen at all, and the shifting production values on individual songs make no fucking sense whatsoever.
No.
There's one song in particular that actually pissed me off because you're sitting there and you've got the backing vocal to a chorus which is in the background, and the next chorus or the next sentence it jumps out front and then goes back.
Yeah,
and I'm sitting there going, what the fuck are you doing? That makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Who produced it?
The
They
producer
do
for
it
this
themselves,
one,
or-
hold on, I'll tell you. Produced by Mike Post and Eddie Van Halen. So Mike Post is basically Eddie's whipping boy, obviously. This one.
Eddie would have been
Yeah, overall the production is okay overall. Everything sits roughly where you expect it. However, pulling certain things in and out of focus is confusing. And this is all about guitar and vocals. Sharon is serviceable, but he sounds far too forced. And the guitar is intrusive instead of brilliant on this release. There are some good moments, however there are some truly terrible moments as well, and the whole thing feels disjointed. As a general rule, it plods and drags as well, which is what you were saying, Jimmy. It also feels almost a decade late in its release timing. When it clicks, it's actually quite good. Different, but has some cool groove, energy, and hooks. Just not enough of that to carry this album far enough. There are some really odd parts. Like, did anyone else get a Phil Collins vibe on some of the tracks?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? All in all, it's either too self-indulgent or incomplete. Some of this really feels like demo or jam work. I mean, the guitar, one of the guitar solo instrumental tracks is literally him doodling in the fucking studio. There's nothing to it at all. This is an Eddie Van Halen solo record, not a Van Halen record. One for the devotees of Eddie Van Halen only. The clarity of the last record is gone. For the most part, this is confused. I won't be going back to this one. I gave it a 4 out of 10. Dirty, Water, Dog, Fire in the Hole were my only choices from this record. Check it out for yourselves, though, and give us your thoughts.
Or don't just check it out. Don't check it out.
Are there any fans out there for this one at all? Any? Van Halen, A Different Kind of Truth. 13 tracks for 50 minutes. The 12th studio album from the US, 4-piece, consisting again of David Lee Roth, Eddie Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, and Wolfgang Van Halen this time around. Released February 2012 via Interscope, produced by Van Halen and John Shanks. 2 singles were released, Tattoo and She's the Woman. The album peaked at number 2 in the US, number 6 in the UK, number 4 here in Australia, went gold in Canada. This is the first album with Dave since 1984, and the band's first since 1998. This is also the band's first with Wolfgang on bass duties. This is mostly made up of reworked songs from the 70s and the 80s. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first, but
Dennis.
before we start,
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah,
That is
gotta give
cool.
credit for that.
Big shout out to Steve for providing us with that and his custom made Van Halen shoes, if you can see them on camera. All right, A Different Kind of Truth. I was drunk in Adelaide when Tattoo was released, and I remember being extremely disappointed
So was I.
after watching the video
The
online.
clip was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favour and listen to the song without the fucking terrible video
That helps.
that unfortunately accompanies it. Not a bad song if you listen to it without the video. I was very impressed with the rest of the album though. Sure, the production wasn't the best due to being over fucking compressed and too loud and clipping at times, but Diamond Dave was back. Sure, he might be older and wrinklier, but that just makes him wiser. A wisecracking wise ass, basically. David Lee Roth's lyrics are undeniably better than Sammy's. Just listen to Bullet Head for some of the best puns and metaphors that ever came out of fucking Dave's mouth.
Agreed.
Yep.
Fucking here we go. The DLR fucking Wankfest is on now.
Wolfgang does a great job, but Michael would have been so much more welcome. I don't mind Wolfie though; he does really well.
He does hold his own.
Yeah, it's definitely a return to their classic sound, but that makes sense, seeing as the majority of the songs were unused, unreleased songs from their early days, which have been reworked. I had a lot of fun revisiting this album. It's a good note to end on, and here's hoping for at least one more album with Diamond Dave and hopefully Michael Anthony. 8.5 out of 10. Stands out She's the Woman, Blood and Fire, Bullet Head, You and Your Blues, As Is, Outer Space, and Stay Frosty.
Okay.
Me?
Yep.
Go on.
Only one person to thank for this album, and that is Wolfgang Van Halen, because he got this band back together and put it all out and researched the songs.
Cheers, Wolfie.
Yeah, he did everything.
He was the one. Yep.
This is a Van Halen album. This is what Van Halen fans want to hear, unlike the previous 2 or 3 albums. The whole band sounds energized. Eddie is back playing guitar again. Alex is re-energized, and Wolfie does a great job, and Roth sounds happy and excited to be back. Dave sounds a little Grandpa Simpson on some tracks.
Old man yells at a cloud.
But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because he's clearly enjoying himself, and age does do strange things to people's voices.
Hello, Jimmy.
Yeah, hello. I think his performance is pretty damn good. I can't find a below par song on this album. I still listen to it regularly. I really love this album. If this is the final Van Halen album, then they've ended on a great note, I reckon. I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Jesus.
I love it.
The band sounds great on this release. Eddie's guitar playing is exactly what you want, and Roth's vocals are sounding great for his age. Reworking of old demos and ideas have resulted in the type of Van Halen album people have been waiting many years for. It does sound modern in terms of production, but for the most part, it takes a listen back to the glory days of the band. Great listen. I gave it 8 out of 10. Standouts were Tattoo, She's the Woman, Chinatown, Bullet Head, and Honey Baby Sweetie Doll.
Yeah.
Wow.
Short and sweet. Honey Baby Sweetie Doll.
This does feel like old times. Time has caught up with the band, though. Dave still has that delivery, and the fun is back in the band. I thought the production was pretty good. It's not as polished and layered as their previous stuff, which I guess maybe was the compression you were talking about comes in. But it is warm, and it has a nice rumbling kind of a vibe under it all, in my opinion. You can... like that.
It was rumbling.
Accident.
Yeah, I'll leave that joke alone. You can tell a lot of it comes from earlier days. That is there. It's a good thing, but I doubt there's much left in the tank for this band, personally speaking. I don't think there's a lot left for them to write or play with anymore.
No.
Also, I don't really believe we need more from this band on this record.
Yeah.
They certainly won't surpass their earlier works now. So, anyway. Wolfgang is not Michael Anthony, clearly, but he more than holds his own, and it's got a good track order, good diversity. It does feel remarkably fresh, and it doesn't drag, this record, which is good. Some cool lyrics in here, I'll give credit to that. There's some solid hooks, very good composition and performances all around, especially when you start taking into account the age of the artists involved. It's funny how going back to this album now in the process, I appreciate it more than I did when it first came out.
Yeah,
I wasn't a big fan of it when it first came out, and those videos fucking put me off. Badly. Don't watch the videos. I know we'll probably play one for you, but don't watch it.
Don't play Tattoo.
Fuck. Overall, it's a fitting bookend, in my opinion. Nothing, oh my god, amazing, but it's a good, fun, nostalgic outing. There's a twist or two on it, though. It's just new but old Van Halen, but it's done well and worth adding to your collection. This album is like a good old faithful pair of boots or jeans.
Yeah.
That's what this album feels like to me.
Definitely great.
8 out of 10. She's the Woman, The Trouble with Never, Outer Space, Stay Frosty, and Big River. The fucking pounding riff, the bass line on that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Fuck yeah. That's as close as you're going to get to Michael Anthony on this release.
Yeah.
Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. That's it for this week. We have finished our Van Halen tribute. Hang around though, because we have a marathon coming up after this on Channel 31. Thank you to our sponsors, of course, Evolution Music, Rock Guitar Lessons, Hellfire Records, Million Industry, Sarah Cumberson Shopping, and The Lesser Ego. We'll get some closing statements in now though.
I looked back on our Kiss tribute episode, Andrew, and now this Van Halen tribute. And over the course of both, I've realised that Van Halen are now, for me, considered to be my favourite band of all time.
That's a big statement.
They've gone over Kiss. I watched the Kiss episode again and then doing these reviews, and I thought, nah, it's Van Halen.
Wow.
Yep. So that's it. That's my closing statement. That's all right.
That's a fair point, though. I'll pay it.
I had fun going through all these albums. I regularly listening. I regularly listen to Van Halen 1, 2, Women and Children First, Fair Warning, Diver Down, 1984 and 5150, so that's nothing new, obviously. But it was interesting revisiting the other Hagar albums after years of neglect.
Yeah.
And it was a treat to go back to revisit A Different Kind of Truth because I forgot how good that album was. Van Halen 3 should never have happened, though, but what can you do? I've always said Eddie Van Halen was a better rhythm guitarist than he was a lead guitarist, but I think he's got the best of both worlds, pun intended.
Yeah.
I don't think you're done using that pun.
And he's a great guitarist all around. One of the best, obviously.
Yeah.
Here's hoping they've got one more album left in them.
Yeah, you want to hear one more?
I don't.
And a final world tour. I can actually see them fucking live for once. Because I missed out last time, and if they tour Australia, I will go to every single show. Van Halen is love. Van Halen is life.
Fuck.
Mega squirt. Good God.
Wow. Okay.
I like it.
Get a mop and bucket. Fucking Jesus.
And fuck it.
If you put David Lee Roth's head on it, you might.
Tell you
Oh, messy. Long overdue that I actually got to hear the entire Van Halen catalogue. I knew the first two albums and obviously 1984 for a very long time, but I've kind of filled in the blanks now. Some were crap, some were great. One deserved the bin. Van Halen didn't always get it right, but they were willing to take chances and didn't always play it safe. They didn't stick to releasing the same album over and over, and they grew and changed over the course of their career. I'm glad we didn't do a battle episode between Roth and Hagar fronted Van Halen eras, because Hagar would have been slaughtered.
Yeah.
Which really isn't fair, because his contribution took the band to a whole new level. His vocals were great, but his lyrics weren't always that great. The biggest hits and the highest lows, it's a catalogue of music that set the standards for years to come, and it's a shame that careers like this won't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Van Halen, fuck yeah.
Well, for me at the start of the show, I said that I wasn't that big of a fan. I didn't give him a lot of time. And for me, going through this process, I'm actually a pretty big fan of this band now. I'm glad in my experience that I was a neutral party going into this. I didn't have a preconceived bias or allegiance to Roth or Hagar. I was like, okay, what is there? Let's hear it.
Yeah.
I was able to give everything its review on its merits, in my opinion. I don't know what that dog's doing. I don't think he knows what he's doing either. So yeah, I was glad to be able to listen to both of the real sides of the band. I guess you get the two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
To use the bad pun, it's the best of both worlds. Now, one had swagger, the other one had genuine melody. Each had their own strengths and weaknesses, though. I've got to mention that, just for the record, and this is not anything in particular, because the albums with Roth have outsold the albums with Hagar. However, Roth never had a number one album with Van Halen, and I don't think he's had a number one album in his career. Whereas Sammy Hagar had 4 number one albums in a row with Van Halen.
Yep.
Got to give some credit where it's due for that. They did the right thing at the right time, and after you change your singer and you come back with a number one album, that's
impressive.
Pretty fucking big.
It is very good.
The band started out in 1972 and are technically still active today. They are one of only 5 rock bands to have 2 albums go diamond in the US. They are the 19th best-selling band or artist in the US history. They've sold more than 80 million albums worldwide, 56 million in the US alone. For me, A Different Kind of Truth is the full stop. It's the closing of the circle and probably where it should end, in my opinion. They do, however, need to do one last tour with both Roth and Hagar and Michael Anthony back in the fold. I think the fans deserve that one personally.
Yeah.
Put your egos aside, quit sniping each other, and just do that as a farewell gift to the world. I think if you do that, you'll blow what Guns N' Roses did right out of the water.
Oh,
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes, they will.
Easily.
Yes, they will.
No way.
Huge.
No.
You want to look at the catalogue of the history of the bands?
But no.
Anyway, Eddie Van Halen is this band, in my opinion. What a player, what a composer. For the most part, he really did bring out the best of both worlds, so to speak. I hope more people out there can just enjoy the whole lot.
Yeah.
I think every other member of the band, though, deserves credit where due. Gary Sharon even, because he would have come into the world's toughest set of circumstances.
It would have been very difficult.
Good luck in that environment, seriously. But Michael Anthony, what a demon he was. You got Alex on the drums, the whole band, the front men, all of it. So, I guess bottom line, you may be more neutral, but what do you guys think? Is it Roth or is it Hagar?
Oh, it's definitely Roth for me, but Sammy was the best singer.
Yep.
By miles.
Roth.
It's hard because I prefer Hagar as a singer, but I prefer Roth's songs.
Yeah.
If he's not being a wanker.
Come on.
See, for me, even now, when going through this, when I start to think back on the songs I've heard, the ones that stick out most in my mind are the Van Hagar songs. They're the ones, the hooks and the vocal melodies stick in my mind more than what Roth did. Not denying what Roth did.
Yeah.
But those are the ones, when I just think about Van Halen, the first things coming to me are things like Can't Stop Loving You. You hear though, that's the first sort of tune that comes into your head. That to me says what it needs to say. Anyway, that said, I'll be going back to these albums quite a bit. They've gained a new fan in me and hopefully many more of you out there in the audience. Audience out there too, let us know what you think. Is it Roth or is it Hagar? This will be a fun little debate. Give us your thoughts.
Get on the page and let's talk about it, because there's lots to talk about.
There's plenty of opinions here. There'll be more in the YouTube content as well. So wherever you're watching this, whenever that may be, either Facebook, YouTube, wherever, whatever, give us your thoughts. Get involved. Again, I want to thank our sponsors, Evolution Music, Rock Guitar Lessons, Hellfire Records, Merlin Industries, Saren Cummins and Shop Fitting, and A Lesser Ego. We also have
THRS Radio, Andrew.
Get that via the TuneIn app.
Oh, yeah.
If it's not already out, we'll have our website coming very shortly. We also have the end of year
Extravaganza at Max Watts, December 9th. We have 10 bands, including Electric Mary and many, many others.
Yep.
$25 plus booking fee via Oztix right now, or $35 at the door. We'll see you there.
Beautiful. This is the conclusion of our 2-hour episode. Following this, we have another 4 hours of the Hard Rock Show for you, keeping you going until 4:30 in the morning. So drink up and rock on in there. Next week, Den takes over. It's your solo clip show next week.
Excellent.
Anyway.
Get us on the television.
Moist.
We are going to go to the bin, so give us your thoughts on this episode while we go to our bin. Let's do it. Let's have some fun.
Oh, we're doing a bin tonight.
Yeah, we're doing it. We said that earlier. You wanted to do one.
No, I thought we were doing it in the other one.
No, there's no episode. That's just bonus review content.
Oh, okay. Well, then, just as well I came up with one, Andrew.
Was your idea?
Yes, my bin tonight is local... this will be interesting. Local musicians slagging off other local musicians when those local musicians have done jack shit, like haven't even released a fucking song, and they're bagging out other musicians that have been around for 10, 15, 20 years. Bad move. Okay, very interested to hear your album, Mr. Whoever you are out there.
You're being very careful now, aren't you?
It'd want to be good, I tell ya. Should not put the cart before the horse.
People in glass houses.
Yes.
Now, I found out that it was apparently not politically correct to call Eskimos anymore.
Oh, fuck off.
So I'm putting that in the bin.
Too cold.
I'm putting that in the bin. Eskimos forever!
Yeah.
Or as I like to call them,
What do we call them? The warmth in pants or some shit?
What are Eskimo Joe going to do?
snow Mexicans.
Because that's not racist at all.
Department stores that are still merchandising Christmas stock but not calling it Christmas stock.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
There you go.
If you don't want to offend people, don't sell it at all. Obviously people that are going to buy Christmas stock are there to celebrate Christmas. So by calling it fucking whatever you're calling it, you're stupid.
A decoration tree.
Yeah. Because we're not celebrating Christmas, we're celebrating decorations.
What do they call like Santa, like the big fat man in red suit?
Because that's completely inoffensive.
The creepy guy who comes down with chimney.
Chimney.
Chimney. Give me a break, Dave.
Come on.
One break coming up.
Coming up.
Alright. Time for me to have some fun with this little segment. Now, I'm going to put the current political leadership of this country in the bin.
Oh, yeah.
This is Liberal, Labor, the fucking lot of you, okay? We are in the grip of this goddamn same-sex postal vote nonsense.
Which is unbelievable that we had to do in the first place.
And it's gone to shit. It's completely gone to shit. It has divided the country, not brought us together in any way, shape or form, to the point of, as of today, AFL House got evacuated earlier today because there was a bomb threat against the AFL because they fucking said they support same-sex marriage, which they were always going to do. My fucking God, are we that depraved, okay? Are we pushing this country back toward the troubles of Northern Ireland in the 80s, are we? Is that where this is going? What the fuck? It is time for the leaders of this country to actually act like it. This could have been diffused a long time ago, the whole fucking thing with actual dialogue.
Yep.
You cocksmokers, instead of voting yourself fucking pay rises, do your fucking job and lead us to a better united future, you dumb fucking idiots.
Bang!
Anyway, that's me.
Kerplunk!
Happy trip.
Thank you all for watching. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
I'm Dennis from the television.
Thank you all for watching. Until next week.
Drink up.
Rubber.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you.
Vote yes for these guys.
They want to get married.
Unemployed? Wow.
I got that on camera, Jimmy.
Thank you very much.
Oh, fuck.
Wow.
Said I think that you're heading for a whole lot of trouble. Oh, yeah. I think that you're heading for a whole lot of trouble. I think that you're heading for a whole lot of trouble. If you take your whiskey home.
The dogs of the street are hunting cats.
All right.
So is David Lee Roth.
Have you got a plan? 1 and go.
Van Halen, women and children first. We just did that, so let's do another one.
You haven't done that for a long time.
I know.
Wow.
I debated about whether to do this or not, but there have been better albums with all original material that have been put in the bin. So...
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not getting it. No, you cannot put Van Halen in the bin.
That's going in the bin.
This is outrageous.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing Jimmy have a final meltdown.
Hold on. It should at least get a 1 because hang 'em high.
We're getting there.
Bombadita, bombadita.
Here we go.
1984.
All
This is
right.
the one that everyone's been waiting for.
Smoke break
yeah.
after this one.
Huh?
Smoke break after this one.
Yeah. This should go to television.
Really? Why is that, Jimmy?
Because it's the one that everyone's going to want to see.
Maybe I shouldn't do it just to troll the audience.
What I should, you know what you got to put on TV? Just the David Lee Roth ones.
Yeah.
Fuck the rest.
Fuck you.
I'll put all the Sammy Hagar ones.
Yeah. I'll put all the Sammy Hagar stuff. I'll include Gary Sharon.
just hate
and do no David Lee Roth albums.
If you really want to piss him off, just repeat the Van Halen 3 review, like for the whole episode.
2 hours of it.
And that and him bidding fucking.
And I'll play every single track, just the audio. With a dead screenshot.
Unbelievable.
Of Jimmy's face reaction.
All right.
I'll make one of those silly fucking Greek videos where you see the fucking this is me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Jimmy's sleeping, Jimmy's face going
Jimmy reacts to Dave bidding Diver Down for 10 hours. For 10 hours.
I should do that just for the fuck of it. That would be interesting.
And like it just bombardina for 10 hours.
It would be interesting to see if anyone actually bothered to play it all the way through.
I would. Sign me up. Fucking. I'll pay
Do video updates every hour.
I would pay good money to see that.
Oh, fuck.
There we go.
We're getting some gold now.
Jimmy obviously wants to go first.
I'll go first on this one. 3,
Alright.
2, 1.
The Hard Rock Show would like to thank Evolution Music, Rock Guitar Lessons, Hellfire Records, Merlion Industries, and Saren Cabinets and Shop Fitting for their support.